The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
Good morning, everybody. We're so glad that you are here with us. And Sam and I are totally chilling with you guys on the Saturday morning. And I'm in my sneakers and my jeans, so I know that I'm feeling good. What about you, Sam?
I am, and I'm very excited about today's episode.
What is it? Tell us.
So we're going to talk about pet custody. The title of our episode is Who Let the Dogs Out? And we have a very, very special guest with us today. Kristen literally just got the most sweet and wonderful baby puppy.
So we have one of our CQ mascots. We'll have to get Sam's dog, Pam, to join us one day, because then we'll have Coda, our newest mascot, who is a 9-week-old French bully, and she is a little pistol, and she's a little fiery, but she sure is a sweetheart, and so she's joining us today on the show.
She woke up for our episode. She's been sleeping all
She has.
morning.
She's been sleeping all morning and slept all the way here on my lap, but she is ready to party right now. But it's a perfect third party to have with us today for our show, because today's show is Who Let the Dogs Out?
And it may seem like a silly topic, but it actually is getting brought up more and more, and we're seeing it quite a bit in family law. So it's wonderful.
All right. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, as Sam calls it, for our episode today, let's do some story time first. Let's hear our divorce war tale of the fictional horrific divorce.
This is Divorce Wars. Once upon a time, there was a woman who believed that she and her husband were very much in love and that they loved their dog just as much as each other. When the dog refused to eat, stopped going to the bathroom, and got the dry heaves, they went to the vet in a panic. When the dog went under emergency surgery to remove a bowel obstruction, the vet pulled out a red, lacy G-string. The dog was fine, but the marriage was over. The G-string did not belong to the wife.
Okay, that's just weird.
Well, it sounds like maybe there's a little infidelity going on.
I was not prepared for the G-string being inside the dog.
Yeah, me either.
And I like to say that I don't get shocked very easily because of, the years that we've been doing this. I like to say that I've heard it all most time, but I will say to our production team, I was not expecting that red lacy G-string to come out of the surgery of the dog during surgery. And I also was a little perturbed by, there was one part where it said that they loved each other, or they loved the dog as much as they loved each other. I'm a big dog lover, and I love my dogs very, very much, but I think that that's a little interesting there. All right, Sam, take it from there.
I mean, yeah, I think Kristen and I have kind of spoken to this before on previous shows, but, marriage being over based on infidelity is, it's really unfortunate and it's sad. It doesn't have a legal basis in California, at least. When you're filing for divorce, you can file for divorce based on, basically, you check a box, irreconcilable differences. So it's a sad situation, and I really hope the dog's okay, because that did not sound pleasant at all.
Yeah, I thought we were going to get a question regarding the astronomical amount of the surgery fee that the parties were going to have to pay, and it sounds like that
would be a community debt, from what I'm hearing.
That's exactly where I was going. It sounds like both parties love the dog. Both parties choose to take the dog to the vet for emergency surgery. It sounds like that would be a community debt that would be subject to an equal division.
I couldn't agree with you more, Kristen. So
now, Sam, what happens? Oh, wait, I'll save that for later, because obviously they're going to have some custody orders over the dog.
Probably, and I bet you that it's going to be somewhat contentious, but now we have an area of law that'll allow us to deal with that. And Kristen and I are going to jump into that next, but before we do, I think we should do a high and low for the week.
Okay. All right. I love that. I always love doing the highs and lows because it it allows us to have all of us that are listening, we have a more intimate relationship with each other. My high was I just got to take a 10-day vacation with my family to Walt Disney World. It was a vacation that had been postponed more times than I can count. And it was one of those things where I just said, if I don't plan this and I don't get it on the books, it's never going to happen. And to have 10 days with my husband and all 3 of my kids, uninterrupted, consecutive, I did not realize how much I needed a vacation after this last year for more than 4 days. It was amazing. We went to Animal Kingdom. We went to Disney's Blizzard Beach. We went to Magic Kingdom. We ate too much. We had, lava flows by the pool, and my baby started walking. I can't say how amazing it was, but also how much I, as a human, needed to, just detach from reality for a few days.
Yeah, and I can tell you that we very much missed Kristen at work, but I'm very glad that you had that time. It was very well deserved.
Yeah, it's hard getting back in the saddle. It's when you're living on adrenaline and just pure, just doing things without question. And I feel like that's how we've all been living for the last year plus. And until you stop that lifestyle for just a minute, you don't realize what your body has been through.
You're making me want to go on vacation.
I did. I told Sam, I said, I gotcha. But it was really good for the soul and for everyone listening, wherever you go. It doesn't have to be someone, going on a plane. Pick somewhere. It doesn't have to be expensive, but really take that time to be with your family because it's really important.
I couldn't agree more.
But what about you, Sam? What was a high for you? Having me gone for 10 days?
No, that was a low. So I guess that would be my low is, Kristen does quite a bit around the office, and, she doesn't always brag about how much she does, but she's definitely missed. So I think I went right up to the point where I could have had a nervous breakdown, but I got through it, so that was great. I do have 2 highs, though, for the week. The first high is that my sister is in town, and I haven't seen her since before the pandemic, at least in person. We FaceTime all the time, but she's up in Oregon, in Gresham, with her husband. So it's the first time she's been able to come down and visit. So that's amazing and pretty cool thing. And then my second high, maybe a little silly. I know my dad's probably listening, but my dad finally gave in and got a smartphone.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if you know my dad has a landline that he screens, and he has a flip phone normally before the smartphone that he doesn't set up his voicemail on purpose so no one can leave him messages. So if you want to find my dad, you have to go to Stater Brothers where he works at 1 p.m. to catch him, or you don't catch him. So you really have to find Scott McBride. But he gave in and got a cell phone, so now we're texting, and he's sending me pictures of his backyard, so it's great.
Well, and we know that Sam's dad is a big fan of our show, so I just want to give a big shout out to Mr. McBride.
All right, let's get into today's topic, pet custody. So I'm going to let Kristen take the lead.
Okay, so we get a lot of calls, just like kids. People have questions. What happens to the kids when we separate? Where do the kids go to school? Where do the kids reside? Who's the primary custodial parent? And, more often than not, we get the same questions for dogs, pets that were acquired, during a marriage.
Yeah, it's a very interesting subject. I mean, dogs in some capacity have always been dealt with in the family law court. We don't always see them in judgments or anything like that, but dogs are considered property. They're still considered property under the California code, but there is a new-ish code section that came out. It's 2605 that really details out what the court can now do for pets. So if you are in the middle of a divorce or a legal separation, a party can move forward and ask for some temporary orders for custody. These are going to be a different standard than what we would otherwise apply to for, children, but the premise is kind of the same. The court makes an analysis regarding, who could care for the pet. They look at things like food, shelter, veterinary care, ensuring that there's no cruelty going on, and the court can make orders for sole or joint custody pending a final determination of ownership.
Yeah, and so similar to what a judge does when they are going through a best interest analysis, how old are the children, how far apart do the parents live, what parent is more likely to facilitate, communication and visitation with the other parent, is there any alienation? I mean, similar to all of that analysis or all of those factors that are analyzed, the judge has the ability to go through many factors just like that for the dogs. Is there a safety concern at one person's house? There's a pool and it has no pool gate, and there's 4 English bulldogs that if they fell in the pool they would die, and I know this because I have an English bulldog, and they don't swim no matter what you do. They are very heavy in the chest area, and it prevents them from being able to swim at all. So those are factors that a judge can look at. And does one person not have the ability to pay for any veterinary expenses that are needed, even the ones that are normal and usual and have to be done every year, like vaccines?
Yeah, Kristen, those are all really good points. And I think it's important to start to understand that, pets now are going to be a consideration when you're going through a divorce, even more so with this new legislation. Something that I always kind of wonder, and I don't know that I truly know the answer to this, but the family code says pets. It doesn't say dogs or cats. So what is a pet?
So is my pet lizard, can that have a visitation schedule in the judgment?
I would say it is, because I think that the way that the code is actually written says that a pet is an animal that is a community property that is used as a household pet. So is that a tarantula? Is that a lizard?
Is it
I
a
don't know.
snake?
I've never seen anything outside of like a dog or a cat.
I saw a parrot one time.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. But I mean, I don't know how intricate a court would actually.
Yeah, I think that if you have any type of, animal that you consider a pet, as odd as it is, I think that if you bring up the code, the court has the ability
to make that an order. And it sounds like you'd need to list it in your property disclosures as well.
Yeah, your PDDs. And I would also recommend, if it really is something that's very important to you, I would advise you to talk to an attorney, because a lot of newer judges may not know this new legislation is passed, or they may not know what is considered a pet or what is included in those family code sections. So you may want to do points and authorities on it, have an attorney really dictate and spoon feed the law to the judge. There are a lot of people out there that their pets are everything to them. And if you are one of them, then call us.
Yeah, I can tell you, I don't have to worry about it because Pam is my separate property animal. But if I was married to somebody, they would have quite the struggle trying to get a hold of my pup.
So Sam, if, my little girl sitting right here, her name is Coda, and that means good fortune and happiness. So that's kind of why we named her. But if I had to go through a separation, if you were the judge, could you grant me a visitation schedule?
Yeah, I would absolutely grant you a visitation schedule, and I wouldn't be biased at all. I would make sure that it was in the dog's best interest. And
it's like a 2-2-3 or week on, week off.
Exactly.
Make sure you give me Mother's Day.
So how's your pup acclimating to home life with your other dog?
She is great. I have another doodle that's about 55, 60 pounds and probably almost as tall as me. And the funny thing is, when we got Coda yesterday, she came from Arkansas. But my doodle was like...
She came from Arkansas?
She did. She came from Arkansas. But
I'm trying to move to Arkansas.
Yeah, Sam has the Custody Queens selling alligator heads as a side business in Arkansas. But no, they played together really well. It was great. It was really funny to watch, because she's 3 pounds and my other dog's almost 60, and she was like chasing her.
Oh, so that's amazing.
It's funny. It's fun. The kids were obsessed, and it's just, who doesn't love puppy breath? Who doesn't love it? It is my favorite smell in the entire world.
She's so sweet.
All right, Sam, I think that's really all we have on the pet stuff. There's really not a whole lot to it, but if you guys want to call with specific questions, we're happy to help and give you a detailed proposed visitation schedule. Call us at 1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772. But Sam, do you have anything exciting planned for this summer?
Well, I have a 10-day vacation plan that you don't know about yet.
I signed your vacation request.
I made sure to get that approved when you were gone. No. Actually, we do. We have a CQ trip planned to Las Vegas. We are so excited to hit the road shortly, and I'm really looking forward to it. Spend some time out of the state.
Yeah, I am looking forward to a couple days with, no kids. Not that I don't love my kids. I do love a good girls trip. And Sam and I are going to tackle all of these really crazy, fun experiences in Vegas. I think you're going to see us ziplining and, trashing some stuff, not in a bad way. It's one of those controlled environments that you get to, destroy electronics and there's no consequence.
Supposed to be incredibly therapeutic.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
We'll see.
But Sam and I want to take the Custody Queen show on the road. We have plans to also go to other areas later this year and just kind of meet new attorneys, meet new experts in different fields and different areas.
Pick everyone's brain and just get down to some new issues.
Yeah. So that's what we got planned. But Sam, do you have any other vacations planned?
I told you I have a secret 10-day vacation plan that you didn't approve. I waited to put in my request until after you were gone. It slipped onto the calendar.
She probably did do that,
I did.
I'm going to find Sam skydiving. I'm going to find Sam, shark diving all over. I will say, though, in Walt Disney World, there was an area where I got to snorkel with manta rays, stingrays, baby sharks, and fish everywhere. And I'm not lying. You are just snorkeling and chilling. And then this, 5-foot manta ray just kind of slides past your leg.
That is amazing.
And I thought of you the entire time that I was snorkeling with my daughter.
Did Jeremy do it with you?
No. He sat on the beach with the baby Hudson, and my middle child Brody. He got in, saw him, and then ran back. And then Riley actually did it with me for a little bit. But once you got to the area of the water where the hole was, the bottom was really deep, that was when she kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you can see him, 2 feet below the water. But if anyone goes to Orlando, I highly recommend Discovery Cove. It is awesome for the kiddos. My daughter and I got to swim with dolphins. They have a freshwater oasis that you get to swim around. You can have some cocktails, not too many, but in the water's heated, and it's just really, really cool. My husband and my daughter got to be trainers for the day, so they got to feed sloths and learn how to train the dolphins. And my daughter had a picture with about 6 birds that had landed on her.
Are sloths as slow as people say they are?
I don't have the personal experience with the sloth, but my husband was obsessed with the sloth. They're big, much bigger than I thought they were. They're actually good size.
Yeah.
So
what about you, Kristen? Do you have any vacations coming up?
Do I say this on the air with Sam next to me?
Uh-oh.
I love trips. My sister's getting married very soon, so we are going to Cabo for that. And then I kind of just pull trips out when I need them. But yeah, I try not to do too many at one time because then I don't want to have Sam have a nervous breakdown on me. So I try to spread them out every 3 or 4 months. But my kids start school August 10th. So I gotta squeeze some stuff in there.
Yeah, that's very true. So, Kristen, have you read any good books or anything lately?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked that question. So while I was on the trip, I had bought this book about a year ago. So everyone knows listening that I'm fascinated with SEAL Team, right? The CBS show now moving to Paramount Plus. They got renewed for another season. So I bought this book about a year ago, and it was called The Operator by Robert O'Neill. Okay. And he was a Tier 1 SEAL Team operator for a long period of time, 10 plus years. And he is one of the ones that took out Osama bin Laden back in 2011. So I bought this book about a year ago, and I'm not going to lie, I have not finished a book in probably 7 years since I became a mom. Yeah. I have started many, and I've never finished one.
Plus working.
Yes, you get into it, you're totally into it, and then you don't. It's in a purse or a beach bag. But I finished this 200-page book. It took me the whole 10 days to finish it, and I am so fascinated with SEAL Team. The real SEAL Team, and the discipline, and just the mental headspace, and how incredibly intelligent that these people are that are SEAL Team. And I have a whole new respect for what these men, go through to get to that level of such superiority in our Navy. I mean, it is incredible. When you read this book by Robert O'Neill, he talks about his life experiences. He talks about what it was like to go through buds. And just, I have a whole new respect of that 10 years of training to where he got.
That's very cool.
So
I definitely want to read that.
I
don't know when I'll have time.
There was another attorney that saw me reading it and asked if they could have it too. And of course, it's got drinks and all my kids' snacks in the middle. But it's a great book. I have a real respect for every man and woman in our military. It's pretty incredible what they do for us. But
Very
Sam,
cool.
you're a good reader. What do you? I know what book you know back and front.
What's that?
The Family Code.
Yeah, that's my favorite book.
Sam knows all of the footnotes and all of the subsections off the top of her brain.
I do love that book. All right, so Kristen, I want to hear more about this vacation. I want to live through you.
Okay, so this vacation actually took months to plan because now with all of the reservation systems, with COVID and just, I respect all of them. I love all the limitations and restrictions because I know it's for all of our safety, but it was time consuming planning it. So if anyone has questions about how it works and how far in advance you need, if you don't want to spend hours on Disney Blog, shoot me an email and I'll let you know. I can tell you that I made reservations about 2 months in advance, and I wanted to add another day to Animal Kingdom because we did get 1 day at Animal Kingdom, 1 day at Magic Kingdom, and I really wanted a second day at Animal Kingdom, but I waited too long to book it, and of course it wasn't available. Well, if you go back and you check it, like right before you leave or while you're there, a lot of people cancel at the last minute.
Pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip. So I was able to grab that reservation like the day before I left, and I realized that even restaurant reservations that I couldn't get because restaurants either at Disney Springs, which is their version of Downtown Disney, and at Disneyland were almost impossible to get.
Did you eat at any good places that you'd like to share?
Well, we actually went to Disney Springs, which is huge, okay? Like it's a process. You got to park, there's security, temperature check, bag check, like it's a process. But we actually went to the restaurant T-Rex, which is really, really, really cool.
It's called T-Rex?
Yes. And so it's similar
to... Is there good steaks?
Well, I didn't get steak. I had a salad. But it's very similar to Rainforest Cafe kind of vibe.
Ooh.
But it's got this giant, interactive, huge Tyrannosaurus Rex in the middle of it. And so the kids were just fascinated and just, basically stared at the dinosaur. And I was like, this is
amazing.
Great entertainment. And we also went to Splitsville, which is a really cool restaurant at Disney Springs where you can bowl at the same place that you eat dinner.
Oh, wow.
It is. It was cool. We went for Mother's Day, did that with the kids. And, we also went to...
Wait, who's the best bowler in your family?
Well, I'm really good when I don't try, but when I try, I'm not very good.
That makes sense.
And then my 6-year-old was crying because she wasn't winning and said she only likes bowling when she can't see the scores, and then...
Yes.
and I'm trying to have that parent teaching moment saying that, everything is not a competition. Sometimes we do things for fun. And then I'm like, looking at myself going, well, Kristen, you're competitive in almost everything you do. But it's one of those moments where you look at a little version of yourself.
So who's the best in your family?
Jeremy is probably the best bowler. I just grab a different ball every time I bowl.
I do too.
Yeah, it's a 13-pound ball. It's a 9-pound ball. It's a wide ball. I
have good days and bad days, but I mean, the people that can you do like the spinny thing?
No.
Me either.
Yeah.
I can spin it right into the gutter. That's
yeah.
about it.
No, I'm not a very good bowler. And then the other water park we went to was Disney's Blizzard Beach, which I highly recommend. That was probably hands down, other than the Discovery Cove, one of my favorite days. And
didn't you get stuck in the rain?
Oh my gosh. I sent Sam a video. My family was hiding under literally a shelter. It was thunder and lightning, and not just a 20-minute Orlando drop on you and then it goes back to sun. I had the double stroller, the other stroller that, I pack my whole life everywhere I go. So I grabbed the kids, we ran under the shelter, and I sent Sam a video of it was like, sideways pouring down rain. So we waited out the first one.
Is it like warm rain?
No, this was actually,
cold rain. Okay.
This one was not like the rest of the tropical storms.
I just imagine it like in the movies, got caught in the rain.
No, but I will tell you a funny story at the pool we were staying at. Another attorney from my office you guys know him, Jeremy. He got to go with his wife and his son, Jace. They got to go with us, but we're all swimming in the pool, and it was great because this is part of the Bonvoy experience that I always talk about. They have villas, and we're all swimming in the pool, and there's probably about 100 people at the pool, right? And it's a very large pool for everybody asking. And all of a sudden, I hear that there was something in the pool that probably shouldn't be there. Bunch of little kids, process of elimination. A child had gone to the bathroom in the pool. Okay? So all these other moms are running out, and I simply grab a leftover cup that was next to the pool with someone's drink, and I scoop it out. And I throw it out. Yeah, that's just, and I was kind of funny because a couple dads were looking at me like, but that's just what you do as a parent, right? You take care of the rest of the kids. So it ended up being that the whole pool had to be cleaned with a lot of chlorine, and they came and said, "Are you the one that did that?" And I said, "Yeah." And they said, "Well, great, thanks, but now we need everybody out to clean the pool for the next 2 or 3 hours.
Now we need you to go quarantine."
And so, of course, all the parents are like, "Which child was it? Who's not wearing swimmers?" But yeah, I have a lot of information about the Disney trip. So if anyone is thinking about it, do it. They actually lifted the mask requirement the day after I got home. And I will say with little kids, the mask was really difficult with the little kids. Wearing it in the heat and having small children who don't keep it on their nose, I will say that was probably the most challenging thing for me. And then literally we landed the next day and CNN announced that Disney World had lifted the mask requirement inside. So, but if anyone has any questions and they want to know where to eat, how to eat, what to do, please give us a call. Sam and I will get back to you. But Sam, all this talk about vacation, where do you want to go?
On vacation? Well, I want to go to Philadelphia.
Why there?
My really good friend Alex is going to be starting school to be she's an ICU nurse now, and she's going into like an anesthesiology program.
Oh, very cool.
So she's moving actually out there. So I'd like to go out there and visit. That's probably the next place I'll venture out to. I'd like to also go to Oregon and see my sister. I haven't got to see her house yet. But no big plans out of the country or anything like that, at least right now.
Yeah, we're on the same boat. It was nice to get out of the state, but I think next year will be the year that, maybe we'll have to take Custody Queens to Greece. That has a nice
I'm
ring
not going to say
it,
no.
Right? I've never been to Greece. That's kind of one of my top 5 bucket lists. So maybe we'll have to start planning that. Production team, where are we going to stay? What are we going to do?
That would be great.
Yeah, and just remember, people, that life is short. Take the vacation. If you're wondering where to go, I have lots of ideas. Water slides with kids. I know every height requirement. I know where you can take drinks in and they don't check. I know all of those pro tips. So you can call us or you can email. My email is Kristen@custodyqueens.com. Sam is?
My email is sam@custodyqueens.com.
And thanks for joining us again on this Saturday. We talk about whether we need more time, but I love that we have such a perfect amount of time to fill you guys in on our lives, answer your questions, and talk about new stuff.
It's so much fun. We hope you guys enjoyed our show, and we hope that you keep tuning in every Saturday at 8:30 on Go Country 105.
And make sure you follow us on Custody Queens Instagram and keep up with any of the giveaways that we're doing and catch us in Vegas. And again, if you have any questions, it's 1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772.
And remember,
let love rule.